Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Adoptions from the Heart TV. I'm your host, Amanda Aliberti. I'm really excited to welcome Rick and Jacob, who came to our agency to build their family. So, welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Amanda.
How are you all?
We are doing well. We're excited to hear about your experience being placed not just with one child, but as of late, you have been placed with two children. The guys were just matched and placed with a baby boy about 2 weeks ago. So this is
Yep.
very raw. So I want to kind of jump in and have our community learn about your experience. So why don't you just start from the beginning when you guys first decided that you really wanted to make steps towards building your family and what brought you to Adoptions from the Heart?
Oh, thank you. And you've been such a support for us along this pathway. We really appreciate it. We've been together for 23 years, and so we started with a class called Maybe Baby about 13, 14 years ago. And it was an eye-opening experience, but it was just a survey of all the potential options that could really, be available for us as a gay couple. And it was really helpful because through that process, we learned that adoption was really where our hearts were. And specifically, I don't think we'd ever even heard of open adoption before that class, but they, talked about the foundations of it. So our journey started then in searching for agencies that shared that same philosophy and then also really worked strongly with gay couples. And so we searched high and low, lots of information sessions, and luckily, I think just after COVID or just before COVID, landed on Adoptions from the Heart and had a really strong connection there. And obviously, 2 kids later, we are very happy.
How would you say the initial processing went when you first joined us and took our educational classes? I know it's been some time now since you first joined us, but what was that experience like? Because I know it can be overwhelming for families. So just to hear from you the benefit of taking some of those classes in your journey of building your family.
Definitely. It was a huge help to us. I mean, we coming into this from, knowing very little, right? We took a class a while ago, maybe baby, but since then, so much has changed. And also just getting ready to adopt a baby, then a second baby, was a big step for us. So learning about the process, the legal applications, what might happen, what might not happen. There's so many questions, uncertainty that we kind of came into this experience, but we definitely, at least for me, I think you could probably agree that the classes were very helpful, extremely helpful to be able to hear from experts, but also connect with other families that are trying to adopt, be in the same process as we are. So very helpful, very informative, very supportive. And I think to add to that, also having an agency close to us. So we are based in Delaware. You have an office in Delaware, as well as other, states nearby, was very important to us because we can be close to this support system as well as, the birth families and so on.
Interesting that you share that. I was just counseling an intake call from somebody who was potentially looking at an agency not close by, but it was an agency that advertised that they were licensed in many states and could potentially provide placement in different states, but were not local necessarily. Can you touch on that piece of the difference for you and what you got out of that and continue to get out of that working with folks who are nearby, not just for your processing, but when you were actually placed and where you had to go locally for placement?
The decision we made, we didn't know the full implications of it until later, but now with second baby being born, first baby still our baby. What you're talking about, Amanda, is really the decision. I'm not sure we fully knew at the time, but now looking back on it is the right decision because while we're about an hour from the office in Delaware drive, we've been there countless times and we know it's a resource for us. And then the amazing folks that are working there, but also now with our larger family network of our birth parents, our birth grandparents, our birth aunties and uncles. They're all within a 3-4 hour drive, and we're learning with our busy lives with work and family and commitments and everything else that it's so nice to have that network that's close by and resources available and someone to call, someone to catch up on, and also just a general shared sense of what's happening in the world. So we just had like a large snow and ice storm, and we were able to talk about it with everyone because everyone experienced the same things and all the same challenges at the same time. I'm not sure, I guess this is part of the other class discussion as well, is there's so much reflection that happens in the classes that I'm not sure we fully talked about it. I know we didn't to the extent that the classes encourage you to, but just coming to that realization about what it is we want out of this experience and the family we hope to build and have built through it are key parts of that.
I think I would add to that, so this whole process is about a relationship. It's not about a transaction. And being so close to, the office, but as well as the birth families, it's so important. As Rick mentioned, we saw social workers from the agency, I don't know, like 10 times already, if not more. So we come to the office, they come to us, so that is very helpful. I cannot imagine flying somewhere with a newborn to meet with the birth, parents and the birth family. And we also, the day or a couple of days after our second child was born, we got a call at noon, and they said, "Oh, come in 3 hours." And we thought, "Oh my gosh, this is so much that we have to process and go through." So being able to drive an hour down the road is so much easier than flying 5 hours the next day. So we kind of appreciate that proximity for sure.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And that's kind of our hope. And sometimes it can be hard to explain that to families. As you mentioned, you kind of don't know what you don't know in the beginning. So I think it's nice for people to hear from you because you've been through it and the benefit of having an agency nearby. So thank you for sharing that. So you were placed with your daughter in 2024 via our Virginia office. Can you just share a little bit of your experience and what type of open relationship you have with her birth family?
Yes. Should I start? So I think I'm getting chill just thinking about this, but it was a Memorial Day weekend. We got an email from our social worker saying, "This may be happening. Do you want to be considered for this?" So we thought, definitely want to be considered. And 2 days later, they said we don't want 12 couples. So we were thinking, it's not going to happen. It's like not going to be an hour works. And then, oh my gosh, we're getting emotional just thinking about this. We got a call like 2 days after that, and it was just very special. So very lucky for sure.
Yeah, it's a life-changing event that's hard to explain. I like to put together like photo books and journals kind of summarizing each year. And so definitely the ones from 24, 25, and then now 26 look very different than the ones before. But also just another thing in addition to the local thing that happened with our child coming and living with us, and then our relationship with her birth parents, which is very strong and positive, is also just the circling of the community larger. So our friends, our families, our larger network kind of all rallied around this particular event, a moment. And that was just super special. I feel like our friends know more about the birth parents and their stories, so it's just sharing that love among all the people who love that child, and especially love that child, that they want the best possible outcomes or experiences for that child. And so changing that mindset around like, oh, what are we having for dinner tonight, to how do we make decisions that are in the best interest of this child and the environment and the situation that they have moving forward, and putting that first.
And we see each other twice a year, and then we text and then email and send messages on 23 snaps. So there's ongoing communication with the birth family.
And we really want that. We try to encourage as much as possible, just because I know our child's going to have questions, and we'll have questions. And I think the more that we do it, the more frequency, the more opportunities there are just to get to know each other. It's very difficult in the beginning because this is a very emotional decision, but the frequency in which we interact, it's, we've gotten past that. And so now we're meeting at playgrounds, and it's just, we're having fun, and it's not all about the decision, and it's all more about, well, don't climb up that slide that fast, and we're going to grab you at the end, and then we're all just having fun with the experience, as opposed to kind of the gravity of the initial decision.
That's wonderful. And I think your story and your current relationship with the birth parents of your daughter really demonstrates what our hope is in open adoption. Definitely not all sunshine and rainbows, and there's been moments of ups and downs, and things that may happen on their side, your side, that we've helped to kind of navigate and talk through. But at the end of the day, you're all here for the best interest of your daughter, and there's so many people around to love her, and you guys have been so welcoming and open to the concept of connection. It's not just a requirement from what I've gathered with you over the years. You truly believe in it because it's going to help your child.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It
So
was so interesting because we had an experience with a good friend. We were playing with their kids, and so like a kid's friend date, and their 5-year-old, 6-year-old, I don't know. He was just talking, and he was like, "Oh, something about our daughter's mom," and so he made a statement, and so I just corrected, like so. There's going to be questions, and we're just trying to provide truthful answers to those questions. Right now, our world is small because we're in the pre-2-year-olds, but as we get into other communities, other schools, other sports, there's just going to be questions, and so we want to make sure everyone is just open, transparent, has an honest answer, and everyone is confident in where they stand with that. And of course, the boy didn't have any reaction at all. He's like, "Oh, okay, Sabine's mom's somewhere else."
that's wonderful. So your daughter is about to be 2 in May, if I
Yes.
recall right. And so you came back to us again because you were looking to build your family. And you went through the process again, you took some more educational classes, and then you became active. Talk to us about getting that call. I don't know exactly how long it's been since you became active, but I know it has not been very long. And what your experience was like getting that emergency placement call in Delaware.
For us, it's so fun putting together the package, the portfolio, the documents, the videos. It's just fun kind of documenting it because, it's hard to stop and say, okay, this is what we want to project out and how we want to share with people that will have reactions to it. So we share our stuff even with our family and friends, and I'm sure they're sick of looking at it, but our books and our videos and all the things that the agency supports us with. And so we're really proud of them. So I think just in October had all of our stuff out, and then now January, so whatever that is, 3-4 months, is a very short period of time. And we were doing some traveling during the holidays, so we had paused our application because we knew that would not be a good time to welcome a newborn when we're busy with other things. So the flexibility that the agency allows with that, just recognizing that humans have real lives and things come up and we pause and we unpause and we're ready, we're not ready, through that. We both have siblings and we always wanted that in our family. Not sure if it was possible or not, but just thought we'd put out the good intention and see if the good intention has returned. And it was. And so the call is always a lot of emotions. I was looking at the phone. I couldn't answer it, but I could see who was calling. It was our social worker who we're very close with. Then he started calling, and it's like, okay, to walk out of
Here we go again.
walk out of this meeting, because usually 4 voicemails in a row does not mean, what's for dinner. But then, like Jacob mentioned earlier, it's the logistics of, that's amazing. When can we meet the birth family? When can we start, developing this relationship? Both of our situations were already in hospitals, which there's not one experience that's, unifying, but that's been our experience. And so you're walking into a hospital situation, which is already nerve-wracking, intense for everyone. And, they've just went through a very huge medical procedure of having a child. And then here we show up. And so trying to be that light and that easiness of we're just here to talk, have a conversation. We're going to be in your lives. You're going to be in our lives forever. So this is who we are. And so I think we were just sharing like what we do for, I think there was like a connection around sports or something. And so just different things that we do outside, just very simple conversations, because that's where we were that day. And then of course with the infant, it's just baby steps on what do they need at this moment. Is it feeding time? Is it changing time? Is it, do I need to hold you time? Our newest son wants to be held all the time, which I love. So he immediately wanted to be held. I think you picked him up initially, and he was, fussy, or just like, who's this? And so you started doing we do the shushing thing, the shh thing, and that immediately calmed him down. And so there was a kind of a new connection there. But that's my experience.
I think also taking a step back, you get the call and it happens very, very fast. So they tell you, get your stuff ready. Have a backpack of clothes that you can change into very quickly the next day, or, get a birth plan ready. So we had a birth plan, assuming that we'll go to another state where you have to stay for a couple of weeks, until the paperwork comes through. The first time, it was very difficult to be away for a couple of weeks. We had, responsibilities. We had, 2 dogs to take care of, other things. So we were gone for 2 weeks. That was not, the easiest of processes. We were very lucky, but it was logistically difficult. So we're kind of thinking the second time might also happen. So what will happen when we do get the call, and who will pick up our daughter from daycare?
Right.
Like all these thoughts go through your mind. So you have to have a plan for sure. And when, as I mentioned, they called us on Thursday or, at noon and saying, come back at 3. We couldn't because we, had so many other balls already in motion, but we were there first thing on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing is that it was very close to us, but it could have been very far from us. So having a plan is very important to be able to, deal with it. Now, the good side of it is with a second child, you do have things left over from your first child. So we have, onesies, we have towels, swaddling towels and things like that.
Lotions and cream.
Right. So it does get easier from that perspective, but definitely, always have a plan because you just don't know what will happen.
And then our favorite part of that whole experience was finally coming home after discharge and all that. And so then we had the great, not reunion, but the meeting of everyone. It was just, our daughter and our dogs and our home and everything. But we videoed a lot of that, which is so special to us, and shared it with the birth parents just because it's, who's this? Why have you brought this thing home with us? But then, all the excitement that comes along with that.
That's wonderful. And I do want to point out that the birth family actually chose you guys off the website, which you're aware. So for folks who are considering going online, it really is a very helpful tool. Obviously, there were several profiles on the website to look at, but I will share that the birth family, when they initially called our agency for connection, that first conversation was, not only do we want to pursue adoption for this child, but we want Rick and Jacob. And they were very set on you. There was an instant connection upon looking at you. And I think seeing your profile helps solidify the decision and the confidence for adoption, which is an important layer when birth parents are trying to figure out what to do for their child. And then the ball just kept rolling. The more they learned about them, the fact that they were open to the contact that they are. Rick and Jacob are open to direct contact, which means exchange of phone numbers. That meant the world to the birth family. For their son, it's not just birth mom and birth father who are involved, but there's extended birth family. And you guys have been very accepting of that. And I think all of that pieced together really built the confidence of this family of why they knew that this was the right decision.
2 weeks in, we've even found more connections. And so, if it was meant to be, it was meant to be.
Yeah.
But just every once in a while, we're like, well, there's another connection, and there's another shared experience that we have. And we are closer than we ever knew we were before, even never have met. But like I said, we've now entered in kind of this long-term relationship. And so we're in the initial phases of finding all of our commonalities from that. Yeah, we also look at the website a lot. It's fun just to look at the other profiles and see kind of how they describe themselves and what they're doing. So we often peruse the website to look through it. But as we know, websites are so important.
Yeah.
And the biggest tip that we had with the educational class that the agency provide is there's no perfect formula for the website. Just be yourself. So, we talk about our hobbies. We talk about what we do for work. We talk about what we do. We do a lot of walks. We have 2 dogs. We do a lot of walking because those dogs need to be walked. And we all go together. We have this whole caravan of strollers and leashes and everything going forward. And so it turns into a little mini parade in our town where, people come out and say hello and they haven't seen us in a week or something. So we just talk about that, very simple life things. And it's not it is intimidating to build a website about your life. But then if you just look at the examples and kind of boil it down, it's just very simple things about things that we enjoy doing, the values we have, and kind of the family and the values we want to, build on.
Any final thoughts or advice you have for folks, generally speaking, who are looking to adopt, and or folks who are maybe looking to come back to build their family again, and some advice you have for going into the experience a second or a third time?
Well, there's likely a lot. I mean, definitely have a plan. Definitely think in advance about, what will happen if the baby is born in a different state, or the baby is born, with short notice when it's an emergency placement versus you have an advance notice and things like that. So definitely consider those options. The other one, I think I would also consider folks to think about their profile. What is their comfort level with different aspects of the birth parent's life and their background, and making sure that you have that peace of mind or confidence that, yes, I can deal with these issues when they come up. This is definitely a lifelong experience that is so exciting, and I would not change a thing. And I think the other thing I would also maybe say is, post-placement, have a relationship with your spouse or partner that you can communicate, easily. For instance, we take turns. I get up at 3 o'clock, Rick stays up until 3 o'clock. So we can, kind of share the responsibilities.
Normally, just there's an infant in the
Correct.
house who wants to be fed every hour and a half. I normally go to bed at a reasonable time.
Correct. But, within, a few months of adoption, you will have to be up a lot. So
Your team.
having a team that you can rely on and share responsibilities or talk about what you can do together or separately so that, things happen. The dogs have to go for a walk. You have to arrange your work commitments. You have to, make sure that there's formula in the house. All these pieces kind of come together. So I feel like, yes, it takes a lot to prepare for the whole process of adoption, but also be ready that when adoption, comes through, there's a other bunch of things you have to do to make sure that the baby's healthy and you're healthy and, everybody stays happy.
One thing I sealed the deal on everything is some of the classes we took in this second adoption are new topics to us and things that we have not talked about. But one of the final courses, there's a group of individuals and couples and others who are in these courses, but 3 or 4 units, couples had already been through the process with Adoptions from the Heart. And and then there's a group who had not been. They were first-time adopted parents. And so that spoke volumes to me because all of those second-time adopters or third-time, I don't know how many times, but multiple-time adopters had such positive things to say about Adoptions from the Heart as an agency, as a people, as a support network, as the resources they give to us, but then also the resources they extend to the birth parents and grandparents for life, which is so important. We made the point of commenting on that in the class is that, if everyone's nervous, but this is like a sign that you're meant to be here because there's so many repeat people here and there's so many choices. There would not be repeat people if it wasn't a great experience and a lot of resources and a lot of value add to the process. And so we couldn't be happier with our decision and our growing family, which we're incredibly proud of.
Well, we appreciate you both for having the time with a 2-week-old and a 2-year-old on this call. I know your story will speak volumes to folks who really gain a lot from hearing directly from our clients. You guys have been a pleasure to work with. I've known you now for several years. You've been very kind, not just to our staff, but to our birth parent community, and that speaks volumes. I look forward to hearing about your family. I look forward to hearing about your continued relationship with birth parents, and we're just happy that you're a part of our community. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
We know you have pictures on the wall in your office of all of the families, and so we want to make sure, and we will provide photos. We want to make sure that photo keeps growing with us, and we get new updated versions of it, because I know when you first walk into your offices, having all of those photos on the wall.
Happy people, happy families.
We noticed it when we walked in, so we know we're part of that fabric as well now, so we'll keep sending you photos to post.
Thank you so much, guys. Please continue to tune in to future episodes here at Adoptions from the Heart TV. Hey guys, if you are enjoying the content here at AFTH TV, please subscribe and hit the bell.